I was always, I'm an athlete at heart. I'm a jock, and I'm always picking up on sports. Specifically through my childhood, I played soccer, basketball, baseball, and football. I was, like I said, busy all season, all year round, always in the driveway. Basketball was always my love. So even during soccer, baseball, and football season, I was always out in the driveway on the weekends shooting hoops. So I had a childhood full of athletics. My parents played a huge role in athletics, not only for me, but for everybody in the community. So the impact they had on not only me, I mean, there was literally softball leagues formed by my mother so all the girls in town could play. My father formed a football league in town, 47 years ago or so, just so kids could play. And the basketball, he coached me in all the sports. My mother coached, my sisters through all the sports. I have a sister that's 4 years older than me, so I was always on the field out there in the softball field with them. So my parents were huge. They were a firm believer in providing opportunities for everybody to participate. And if there wasn't something going on, they would form a league and they would form a team so that they could play. And they instilled that in me at a very early age, the importance of giving back to the community, giving back to other people. What I learned from them is, again, another thing that's embedded in me and that I go forward with every day. I was 25 years old when I had my accident. Again, I had a great life growing up before that. And for me at 25, I made a terrible decision one night to drive home after I was drinking with a couple of my buddies. And I don't remember much of the accident. The last thing I remember is putting the keys in the ignition of my truck and starting it up and starting to drive away. And from what I was told, I was traveling about 85 miles an hour on a highway when I passed out behind the wheel and my truck went off the right side of the road and I hit a ditch and I started to cartwheel and roll and flip about 75 yards down the road and cartwheeled 3/4 the length of a football field, about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I did not have my seatbelt on, which obviously is a terrible decision in itself. I rolled with the truck the entire way. I was following next to the truck. So I rolled with it the entire way and the truck came to rest on its roof. All the tires were blown out. The glass was shattered, obviously. All the metal was gone. And the way I was following, a police officer just happened to be driving the other way on the highway. And his light shined out the chrome of my truck. And he turned around and he got to the scene. And he got on the radio right away and he called up, obviously the hospital, and the hospital sent Lifestar helicopter. They flew me back there, multiple surgeries. I was in a coma for 2 days. And when I woke up, the first person I saw was the doctor that had performed the surgery on me 2 nights prior. And she came into my room and she looked at me and she said, "Stephen, you've been in a bad automobile accident. You'll never walk again." And she left the room. And I'm like, well, I woke up and I'm looking at a straight up in the air. I'm on a bed that's rotating to keep my fluids in my body moving. I got a respirator in my mouth. My hands are handcuffed to the bed. I got tubes and wires sticking out of every part of my body. Where am I? What's going on? Somebody wake me up, please. This is a terrible nightmare. And when she said that, I was, I was like, what? What's going on? I'm Steve Hempt. I'm 25 years old. I'm invincible. I'm untouchable. This isn't happening to me. And then my mother came in. Excuse me. And she came over my body, my lifeless body, and a teardrop. I saw the tears in her eyes, and one teardrop fell from her eye and hit me on the cheek and rolled down my face. And that's the feeling that I'll never, ever, ever forget. And what I put her through and my family through and my loved ones through for those 2 days. And she kissed me on the forehead and she said, "Stephen, I love you." And she walked out of the room. And, again, what I did to those people for those 2 days that I was in a coma. Life lesson. I love talking about it. I love sharing my story. That's what I do now. I travel all around and I share my story just of, hey, we're not invincible. And, it will catch up to us eventually. And I'm living proof of what can happen and what could have been. I could have been a pro athlete. I could have done this and settled down with my girlfriend and have it all. But no, I made a terrible decision and look at me now. Every morning I got to drag my butt out of my bed and into a wheelchair and push around everywhere. And every night I got to do the reverse and climb into a bed from my wheelchair. I'm not going to go away from this. I'm paralyzed probably for life. Right now there's no cure for my paralysis. There's so much damage I did to my body. But then we move on and there was times where it was difficult for me, but eventually I accepted it and get on with life and become, successful in everything I did. It took me weeks, if not months, to to get over this isn't happening, the denial. You know, there's the 5 stages of grief that people go through. And I was in denial for weeks, if not months. And, you know, thinking to myself, I'm going to be fine. This isn't happening. I'm going to get through this. But for those days, all the negative thoughts I allowed to come into my mind, you know, who's going to take care of me for the rest of my life? Who's going to want me? Who am I going to be a burden on for the rest of my life? And I thought about taking my own life, and I thought about giving up. And it was awful. And people, the doctors and nurses and the therapists would come to my room, and I would yell at them and swear at them and throw things at them and get the hell out of my room. And I don't want you. I don't want any help. I don't need any help. But then something incredible happened. They wheeled me down to a swimming pool. They put a life jacket on me, and they put me into a little chair that, you know, lifts up over the side of the pool and goes over and slowly lowers me down. And I remember as the water's hitting my feet, I was saying to myself, I can't feel this. This is weird. It's coming on my legs. I can't feel it. This is weird. What's going on? And all of a sudden it hit my waist above my level of injury, and it hit my hands and my chest and my face. And it was like, boom. And I'm not a religious person. And if you are, that's beautiful. But personally, I'm not. But it's like I was born again. And it was such a refreshing feeling, like, wow, this is amazing. And I'm floating around this swimming pool in my rehab hospital. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, I got a decision to make right now. Do I want to be that negative person I've been for the last 2 days, where people don't want to be around me and I'm miserable and I'm going to go home and die, whether it's physically, mentally, or emotionally, just pass away? Do I want to be that idiot, that jerk? Or do I want to go back to being a person I was, the life of the party? And when I come into a room, I suck the air out of the room, and I love people, and I love talking to people and being in front of people and on stages in front of thousands, and that's me. And I had a decision to make right there. And I decided in that pool, as I'm floating around, I said, I'm done with this. I'm done being this jerk, this negative, dark person. I'm going to move on my life. I'm going to listen to the doctors, the therapists, the nurses, whoever wants to help me out. I'm going to get out of here as soon as possible. I'm going to get home. I'm going to get on my life, and I'm going to be successful. And I know I got challenges coming. I know I got obstacles coming, but I'm going to meet them 100% and, you know, 1,000 miles an hour and go at them and overcome them and just lead a successful life. So 8 years ago, when I'm 43 years old and I thought my life was all good, you know, I thought I'm good. I'm settled in my teaching degree and I'm career and yada, yada. I went away. I'm from Connecticut. So I went away to Cape Cod, Massachusetts one day just to get away. And I'd never been there before in my life. And everybody's telling me, you need to go. It's a beautiful place. I check into my hotel. I said, I'm not from here. Where do I go? They said, well, you need to go down to Woods Hole. Let's go to this bakery called Pie in the Sky. Get something to eat. It's on a harbor. Watch the ferry. The boats come in. Just enjoy the day. I park my truck. I push up a hill, and I'm at Pie in the Sky, minding my own business. And this gentleman comes around the corner, and he comes up to me. He says, "Are you local?" And I said, "No, I'm from Connecticut, like 2.5 hours away." And there was about 10 seconds of silence then. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm dead. I'm getting stalked here. I'm planning my route. Like I'm going off of that pier. I'm going down the hill, whatever it is. Finally, I said to him, do you mind telling me why you asked that? And he said, well, I trained with the Paralympic curling team here on the Cape, and I saw you pushing up the hill back there. And with your build, I can make you an Olympian in a year. And I'm like, A, what the heck is curling? And B, where do I sign up? Being an athlete, I'm like, let's go, Olympics. I drove the 2 hours home, and I'm thinking about this. Maybe this is something I could do. I got home, I Googled it. Hey, this was cool. I could do this. And I went back a couple of days later, and I threw my first couple of stones at midnight. Absolutely fell in love with the sport. Right away, I knew it was for me. And obviously, I was awful at first, but it was just something that, it was a place for me. The ice is a place to go, to get away from everything. No matter what's going on in my life, I get on the ice, and it's my little sanctuary to get away from everything. I had no idea what the Paralympics were. I had no idea what curling was. I had no idea about adaptive sport. I had no idea that I could, wear a jersey that says USA on it with my name on the back and travel the world and represent this beautiful, wonderful country we live in. I had no idea. At 43 years old, I thought I was good. And then I got stalked by this guy, and I am now a 7-time national champ and a Paralympian and another one coming up.